These sessions are based on the book The Messiah Codes Unsealed. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Temple 2030 Watch. I'm Luis Narciso, author of The Messiah Codes Unsealed. We're on session 56, Temple News Update as of December 5, 2025. Each week, we explore recent world news for signs that may align with the Bible prophecy, focusing on events potentially leading to the dedication of the Third Temple in Jerusalem in the year 2030. These prophecies come from Daniel, Leviticus, Ezekiel, and more. And they create an interdependent model. As we studied on sessions 1 through 43, timelines and details for many prophecies connect so precisely that their fulfillment would serve as objective, measurable evidence of a guided reality, a creation, or a simulation where the Creator has woven verifiable prophecy into history. This week, November 28 to December 5, 2025, was quiet on the Temple Mount itself, but three stories are worth knowing. More tensions in the Golan Heights, an important update about the Red Heifers, Iran's nuclear program growing fast, and a fourth thing, we have a special segment about the Golan oil right after the stories. So let's go through them one by one. Story number one, Israel keeps tightening its hold on the Golan Heights. For those new to the channel, the Golan Heights is a high hill area in the north of Israel. Israel took it from Syria in 1967 in the Six-Day War and made it part of Israel in 1981. This week, Israeli soldiers went into villages on the Syrian side of the border. They arrested some people and put up new checkpoints. The local people, mainly Druze, say they feel trapped and afraid. But Israel says it is only doing this to stop weapons and fighters from getting close. Syria's government was very angry. They called it new aggression and repeated, Israel must give the Golan back completely. Why this matters for 2030? In our Scenario 3, version B, remember Scenario 2 and Scenario 1 are not likely to occur. Well, we say then that the Golan Heights oil could become the reason why Syria, with the support of several other countries, work together to take back the Golan Heights in a peaceful, quote-unquote, way. The Bible in Ezekiel 38 talks about nations coming against Israel to take riches. Oil is riches. Even if the oil is hard to get, the idea of it is enough to make leaders want the land. Like I said, we have a special segment about the Golan oil right after the stories. Story number 2, the Red Heifer update. The Temple Institute corrected the interpretation of its post on Facebook. They say that 4 of the Heifers are still being watched. Upon checking the Temple Institute's official Facebook page and related updates from November 2025, I can confirm that not all 5 original Red Heifers imported in 2022 have been definitely disqualified. Here's a clear breakdown based on the most recent information. In a Facebook post dated November 12, 2025, the Temple Institute provided an update and clarification addressing misinformation about the Red Heifers. They stated, there are currently 4 Red Heifers at the Shiloh site, some of which are owned by Rabbi Ariel, head of the Temple Institute. Their halachi, that's the legal status, the religious legal status, has not yet been definitively determined, and we are monitoring them. That's what he said. This suggests one of the original 5 may have been removed, possibly due to a natural cause or full disqualification. But the remaining 4 are still under observation and not ruled out. They emphasized that no heifer has been sacrificed yet, And preparations, including breeding programs, continue with the goal of producing a kosher red heifer for ritual use in the future. The Post also noted that a test run was conducted in August 2025 using a disqualified heifer to practice the process, but it was not a real ceremony. This aligns with an earlier post from August 5, 2025, where they discussed ongoing work but did not declare all 5 disqualified outright. Instead, they mentioned that the Heifers are part of a long-term effort and any reports of complete failure are incorrect information. The 5 Red Heifers, Red Angus cows from Texas, arrived in Israel in September of 2022. Their move to Israel was organized by the Temple Institute and B'nai Israel. They were initially screened to meet biblical criteria from Numbers 19:2, completely red, without blemish, and never yoked. Disqualifications happen if white or black hairs appear or other imperfections develop as they age. They must be at least 3 years old for the ritual. In August 2025, some reports from Charisma Magazine and End Times the Substack claimed all 5 were disqualified due to aging and blemishes, but the Temple Institute clarified that that was overstated. Breeding programs are active. The original Heifers are being used to produce new cows with 99% pure genetics, aiming for future kosher candidates. No timeline for a ritual sacrifice has been set, as it requires rabbinical confirmation and a rebuilt altar on the Mount of Olives. So what's the current status as of the end of November 2025 and beginning of December? The number of Heifers is 4 at Shiloh, at the Shiloh site, which is a biblical location north of Jerusalem used for secure breeding. The Halachi statute, that has to do with the religious law, not definitively determined, still being monitored for perfection. This means they haven't been fully disqualified, but they are not ready to use yet. What are the new developments? The Temple Institute is focusing on breeding and preparation, including test runs to train priests. They stress that this is part of a rebuilding effort, not an immediate plan. For the Temple 2030 context, this fits my scenarios. The Red Heifers are key for purification, as on Numbers 19, enabling sacrifices in a rebuilt temple. The ongoing breeding keeps momentum alive without triggering immediate conflict. Story number 3 is Iran's nuclear program keeps growing. On November 20, the United Nations nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, gave its newest report. It calculated that Iran had or has 440 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%. That's 3 times more than a year ago, right? And this is after the attack against the nuclear reactors. If Iran wanted to, they could turn that into material for 10 to 12 nuclear bombs in just a few weeks. To enrich from 60% to weapons grade 90%, it seems it doesn't take too long. I just wonder why they haven't yet, if they already had about 140 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium last year. Or maybe they didn't reach some of it and have been able to keep it secret. Or in fact, they took the uranium out of their nuclear facilities before the US hit them recently with the bunker buster bombs? Likely. Why this matters for our scenarios? In both versions A and version B of scenario 3, we said a very powerful attack on Israel could happen between 2027 and 2028. Iran is the country most likely to give dangerous materials to extremist groups. 440 kilograms makes that danger much more real. And now, for our special segment, the Golan Heights oil. What we really know today, and whether it can be the hook that will make Ezekiel 38 and 39 a reality in our time. Let's dive deeper. Let me take you back to October 2015, a moment that had Israel filled with excitement. An American-Israeli company called AFEC Oil was drilling test wells in the Golan Heights. After their third well hit something big, the chief geologist, Yuval Bartov, went on national TV and said, "We found a layer of oil 350 meters thick. That's 10 to 20 times deeper than the average oil find anywhere in the world. We're talking about billions of barrels here. This could make Israel energy independent for decades." Imagine the headlines. Israel, a country that buys almost all its oil from other nations, suddenly sitting on its own treasure. It felt like a game changer, but then the story went almost completely quiet. No big updates, no new drilling permits. What really happened? Let's break it down step by step with all the details so you can see the full picture. Step 1. The discovery and the hype. AFEC Oil is a subsidiary of Genie Energy, a US company with some heavy hitter names in its boards. Think the late and former Vice President Dick Cheney, media mogul Robert Murdoch, and financier Lord Jacob Rothschild. They got a license in 2013 to explore 396 square kilometers in southern Golan. That's about the size of Washington, D.C. By late 2015, after 3 wells, Bartov confirmed significant quantities of liquid oil and gas. Early estimates, 1 to 2.5 billion barrels, enough to supply Israel's daily needs of 270,000 barrels for 10 to 20 years. The Golan isn't just land. It's a strategic high ground with fresh water from the Jordan River, supplying about 30% of Israel's drinking water, and now this potential underground wealth. It was front page news in Israel and beyond. Step 2. The quiet pivot. Why the excitement faded? By 2017, Genie Energy hit pause. The official line was, "The oil is there, but it's trapped in hard shale rock. Like trying to squeeze honey out of a rock. It's too expensive and technically challenging to extract it right now." No more drilling, no production licenses. Fast forward to 2025, still no updates from Genie. Their latest annual report talks about ongoing evaluation, but focuses on US projects instead. What changed? The oil is real. Scientists agree the rock holds hydrocarbons, but they say it's shale oil, deep underground, 340 to 1,290 meters, mixed with tough kerogen. It's like an ancient plant material turned to stone. To get it out, you'll need fracking, which is blasting with water and chemicals, these rocks, which costs a fortune and risks pollute the nearby Sea of Galilee, Israel's main freshwater source. Environmental groups sued and Israel High Court slowed things down. Today, best guesses by AFEC Oil, hundreds of millions of barrels, possibly, but not billions. Still valuable, tens of billions of dollars, but they say it's not the jackpot Bartov originally reported. Step 3. Israel bigger energy picture. To understand why Golan oil matters, let's zoom out to Israel's energy world. Israel uses about 270,000 barrels of oil a day, mostly for cars, trucks, and planes. Here's the surprising part. Israel imports 92% of its oil. That's over 217,000 barrels daily, per 2025 data from the US Energy Information Administration. The rest? A tiny bit comes from small local fields, but nothing major. Where does the oil come from? Their top suppliers of Israel are Azerbaijan, via the Caspian pipeline, about 40%, Kazakhstan and Russia, another 20 to 30%, West Africa, Gabon, about 15%, and Brazil and other offshore suppliers growing 10 to 15%, right? But no Middle East oil, of course, too risky politically. Now, gas is Israel's really hero story. Offshore fields like Tamar, discovered in 2009 and online in 2013, and Leviathan, discovered in 2010 and online in 2019, hold 30 plus trillion cubic feet of gas. That is enough for 40 to 50 years of domestic use. Tamar alone supplies 70% of Israel's electricity. Gas is cleaner than coal, so Israel has been able to cut emissions about 50% since 2013. What about the Leviathan? Well, it's a monster, like the monster in the book of Job, no? 22 trillion cubic feet. Israel is exporting its gas to Egypt and Jordan. By 2026, when the Tamar and Leviathan expansions conclude, it will make Israel a net gas exporter, saving about $4 billion a year on imports and boosting GDP by 1 to 2%. That's big. But oil, still imported. Gas doesn't run cars or jets. Golan could fill the gap if viable. Step 4. The suspicious silence. What's really going on? Why no headlines since 2015? Well, there are two sides to this story, and both could be true. First, the practical reason. According to OPEC Oil, extracting the Golan Heights oil is tricky. Extracting oil from shale rock, which is a fine-grained clastic sedimentary rock formed from compacted mud and clay, needs advanced tech, fracking, horizontal drilling, etc., which is expensive to extract. About $50 to $70 per barrel. We're going to question that number. And risky when done near water sources. But let's draw a global parallel. The US shale production through fracking boomed, even with cheap oil. I think that it is not so much the cost of extraction if we use for reference the US boom on shale fracking production during the time of cheap oil. But it is rather the Golan Heights disputed status and UN scrutiny. Remember that UN Resolution 497 calls the Israel's controlled Golan Heights occupied Syrian land. And finally, it is the Genie Energy Board of Directors. Power players who know geopolitics. They likely dialed back the real situation to avoid a firestorm and wait patiently for a better time to confirm the real oil reserves and begin production. Second, the strategic angle. Keeping it low-key diffuses the bomb. And I'm talking about the geopolitical bomb, right? The Golan Heights is a powder keg. Syria claims it as stolen. Syria's al-Shara demands the return of the Golan Heights. Even medium reserves, say 200 to 500 million barrels, would be enough for a coalition push. That would be the spoil in Ezekiel 38, right? Silence since then? I think that's a tactical move. Genie Energy yearly filings from 2016 to 2024 cite geopolitical risks. Step 5. Why this still fuels the fire for 2030? Even if smaller, Golan Heights oil is a magnet. Israel imports 92%. Tamar and Leviathan gas cut the use of coal to produce electricity 100% by 2025, but Israel is still very much oil dependent. Discoveries like Leviathan made Israel self-sufficient in electricity. It's about now 70% gas-fired. But Israel is still very dependent on imported crude oil. On our Scenario 3 version B, oil hooks a Syrian-led coalition, the UN, Russia, Turkey, Iran, for a peaceful quote-unquote reclamation by 2027-2028. Extremists explode the moment to deliver weapons of mass destruction into Israel, which is a common event in all the likely scenarios, right? In Scenario 3, both version A and B, both of them have weapons of mass destruction sneak into Israel and actually detonate it, but hopefully not in a populated area. God will intervene, right? As a result, the Sunnis concede temple space. Your thoughts? Let's put all the pieces together. This week, we saw three important things. Israel and Syria arguing more about the Golan and the oil underneath it. The Red Heifers program is still alive and moving forward, and Iran's nuclear material growing fast. These are like puzzle pieces sliding into place. The Bible talks about a time when nations will look at Israel's riches and make plans. It talks about a temple that will stand again, and it warns about a time of great danger before peace comes. If the temple is dedicated in 2030, exactly as the Bible math shows, it will be proof that someone outside of our space-time has been speaking to us all along through the Bible. That's our update for this week. Next week we will have more temple-related news. Please do 3 easy things. Subscribe to Temple 2030 on YouTube or wherever you are viewing this video, and turn on the bell. If you want to dig deeper into the calculations for prophecy already fulfilled and for prophecy yet to be fulfilled, check the book The Messiah Codes Unsealed and see all the calculations. And in your opinion, what is the real geopolitical strategy with the oil found in the Golan Heights? Are they saying the truth? Are they concealing what the head geologist reported in 2015? 1 to 2.5 billion barrels of oil? And they're hiding this because of it's a geopolitical hot potato? Will Syria and the signatories of the Astana format, Russia, Turkey, and Iran, in their ambition to get back the Golan Heights to get their hands on its oil, trigger the war of Gog and Magog as written in Ezekiel 38? And how about the newest report from the International Atomic Energy Agency that Iran has 440 kilograms, still has them, at 60% enriched uranium? Could that be the source of fissile material used by an extremist group to make a Frankenbomb to attack Israel? And finally, how about the clarification from the Temple Institute that there are still several Red Heifers not disqualified? After 2,000 years, the Temple Institute is getting Israel ready to begin temple sacrifices as soon as the third temple gets dedicated. And by dedicated, I mean officially open, which, as per several prophecies, check sessions 8 through 11 in this channel, that should occur in 2030. And no, it's not the rapture or the abomination of desolation or the Great Tribulation in 2030. What the dedication of the third temple will mark is the beginning of the last generation. Thank you for watching. Stay close to the news and stay closer to our Lord Jesus. And until next week, Shalom.